We're going to start tonight's meeting. We welcome everybody to tonight's council meeting for the City of Covington, October 5th, 2021. Just a quick note, due to the rising COVID cases, seating is limited because of the COVID-19, and we are dealing with the capacity guidelines from the state, and standing will not be allowed tonight. Attendees will be required to wear a face mask or face covering inside the council chambers. If you would, silence your phones or turn them off would be appreciated. Roll call, please.
Councilman Lewis.
Here.
Councilman Botsford.
Here.
Councilman Roberts.
Here.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Here.
Councilman Verrett.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Rowling.
Here. If you would stand for a moment of silence. Mayor Mark, would you lead us in a pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight, we're going to start with appearers. Ms. Owen Smith. Thank you for being here. Ms. Smith is the Director of the Workforce Training and Development for North Shore Technical Community College. Councilman Verrett?
Yes, we had reached out to North Shore Technical Community College. They had a great program that was in effect where they would have free classes and free training for electrical and drywall and flooring. And they were going to come speak to us at the September meeting, but the September meeting was canceled. Those classes, as I understand it, are no longer available, but they still have a number of classes and a curriculum that can help out a lot of people. And so I asked, and we have Ms. Owen Smith. Ms. Bridget Laborde was going to be here, but my understanding is she couldn't. So Ms. Smith, thank you for coming, and please address the council. Yes, please.
Can I remove my mask while I'm talking? Okay.
Thanks for asking. Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you, Councilman Mark Verrett, for inviting North Shore to come speak today. You're correct. The disaster recovery courses we did offer immediately following Ida. It's a program that actually started with the floods, I think, back in 2017, maybe. So what that is, it's non-credit courses that we offer to the community. It offered some basic electrical, drywall, and flooring so that individuals in the community can help themselves to recover from disaster. So those courses were held at our Hammond campus, and we may possibly be offering some at our Lacombe campus. The instructors that teach those classes at Lacombe suffered a lot of damage themselves, so it was kind of difficult for them to offer those, but I appreciate you for speaking on behalf of those courses. Dr. Bridget Laborde is our Director of Workforce. I'm the Dean of Campus Administration at our Lacombe campus. As you may or may not know, North Shore Technical Community College is the community college for the North Shore. We service all 5 parishes across the North Shore. We have 6 campuses. Our main campus is in Lacombe. Our original campus, which is in Bogalusa. We have a campus in Greensburg, which services St. Helena Parish. Our campus in Hammond, and then we also have a what we call our Connect to Success campus in partnership with Southeastern, which is on Southeastern's campus, and then our newest campus, which is in Livingston. So we offer technical programs as well as academic programs. We do offer Louisiana Pathways and associate degrees. We were awarded this past year during COVID our SAC COC accreditation, so that allows our students to transfer to any Louisiana state school and surrounding areas as well, so we're very proud of that. And then the workforce division, which I mentioned is offered under the disaster recovery program, does a lot of non-credit programs throughout the different parishes. One that we offer here in St. Tammany Parish, which I'm real excited about, which is my baby, which is the Women in Welding program. So we had our first cohort of women to graduate from that this past spring, and looking to offer that in the coming weeks, actually, again, this fall, with another class being offered in the spring in Slidell. And then we do our dual enrollment with all the high schools of the parishes that we serve. So since I'm in St. Tammany, we do offer dual enrollment courses at all of the 8 high schools here in St. Tammany Parish as well. So our newest dual enrollment class is our HVAC. So we have 2 students that are in our dual enrolled HVAC class, and they actually come on our campus during the day to take those courses. Workforce also partners with our STEM and outreach. So the Lacombe campus is the STEM campus. We have 2 mobile labs that we take with simulators to simulate some of our programs. So we have maritime simulators for our nursing program, 3D printers, conveyors that simulate PLC and technology that's in manufacturing. So we use those to go out to the high schools for recruiting. We go into junior highs and elementary schools to do summer camps and outreach to teach students about STEM. That department does a lot of summer camps. This past summer, they did a new one on food. So just teaching young people about food, how that breaks down into energy for our body and kind of how it's grown, and it was great. They really loved it. So we do a lot in the community. We have a lot of great partnerships throughout the community, especially the St. Tammany area. That's my area, so I'm always going to talk good about St. Tammany. But we do serve the entire North Shore. We're very proud of where our college has gone. We're always looking for growth and always looking to engage the community. I did bring our booklets that highlight some of our programs, and then just some quick fact sheets about us as well. So I'll leave those if anybody wants any. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're always open to give tours, and I do suggest that if you haven't been on our campus, that you do come and tour our campus. Like I said, our Lacombe is the STEM campus. We have great simulators in our maritime program. We actually have a boat, so you can come drive the boat. It's a simulator boat, and you actually feel like you're on the water. We have our SIM nursing dolls that help in our allied health program. We actually use those to fast graduate our nursing students that were in the spring 2020 class, so that they can quickly get into the hospitals to help out during COVID. So we did that a lot with our SIMs and our simulator dolls. So definitely come out for a tour. Thank you. Any other questions?
Councilman Boxford?
Yeah, I would like to say, I work with the Maritime School here in downtown Covington, so we're very familiar with you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we have actually a bunch of your students that we've employed. And I can't speak highly enough about y'all's program. Y'all do a fantastic job, and it's a great service to the community.
Thank you.
Just to give these kids access to this, especially coming straight out of high school and so on and so forth. They may not be ready for a 4-year college, and that y'all provide the service and get them to where they can do that or go for a certificate-based program.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I really, really love your program.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. I'll let Mr. Savoy know as well.
Good.
All right.
Anyone else? Ms. Smith, thank you very much for attending today. And again, I think we all proud to have this college, this technical college in our region. I think it helps a lot of businesses, a lot of people. And again, thank you. And we'll take you up on an offer on a tour.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Moving on, Ms. Diane Weiss is in the building.
She is.
Councilman Roberts?
Yeah, actually, before Ms. Diane starts, I'll just let y'all know, if you're not familiar, Ms. Diane was an interim councilwoman twice on 2 occasions to help out with the city council. So we're familiar with her, but if you're not, her and her husband Bud in the 15th Street Flyers put on a 4 and a 4th race every year. I'm sure COVID has presented its challenges, and she always rises above those challenges. So I'll let her talk about some of that this year. Thank you, Ms. Diane.
Welcome, and thank you, Councilman Roberts, for the opportunity to be here tonight, as well as to speak to the rest of the council and our city. I have a very brief presentation, which is really more of just an acknowledgement and an attestation to something that most of us already know, and that is that Covington is a very cool place to live. And I think I'll demonstrate that for you by sharing just a little bit about what we do in July and how we make it our give back. But we only can do that with the support of our council, our city, our fire, and our police departments. So most of you know that it's now over 20 years we've been hosting an event on the 4th of July called 4 on the 4th. And it started as a real grassroots effort in just getting folks to come out and do something on the 4th of July. And if we collected a few dollars, we would wholeheartedly give it right back to the community. So for a number of years, we've supported the Recreation Department, the Boys and Girls Club, our local first responders, being the Police Department and Fire Department. And a few years ago, we actually became engaged with the YMCA and appreciated all of the great programs that they did. And in a real true partnership, the YMCA would come out and help us put on this event so that we were even better equipped to support them in a much more meaningful way. And as Councilman Roberts mentioned, COVID threw a monkey wrench into everything we know about life, including the running and walking world and the events that we sponsor or try to host. So we did have a bit of a forced break in 2020 and knew that we really wanted to bring some version of it back for 2021. And again, with the situation being that it was a little bit of a, bright light, but the concern for social distancing and for not being, tagged as a super spreader event, things along those lines, we intentionally kept it rather low key. We went back to really and truly what we started 20 years ago. We didn't do shirts. We didn't do the big barbecue afterwards. It was truly come out and put one foot in front of the other and see what you can do for your community. And it reminds me a lot of what a lot of us say, there's great ways to benefit the community. Buy a ticket, buy a meal, come out and walk or run. And it fell into that category. So we approached it from that perspective again this year. Again, a much scaled down version, and intentionally delayed the promotion of it because we needed it to be a little bit low-key so we could manage it appropriately for this year. We even went back to the $4 registration, so it was $4, 4 miles, come out on the 4th of July. We did manage to provide a few treats for our folks, right? So we had some peanuts and beer, which are typical fare on Tuesday nights if you hang around some of these running guys, and managed to get a few prizes to give away. And what we did to really bring the community involved, not only did you come out and walk or run, but we also made donations to a variety of charities an optional part of the registration process. And I think that's where we found to be the most impressive amount of community support is knowing that we only had a $4 registration fee, and through some support of the city and again, some of the vendors kept the expenses at the absolute bare minimum. We didn't even do timing this year. We said, who cares what your time is? Just come out and do it. Everybody got a flag. We had some fun red, white, and blue bandanas that we were able to provide. So folks still got a little something for the registration. And what we found at the end of the day was through that approach from an operational perspective, as well as giving folks the opportunity to do something voluntarily, we actually had a very surprising profit, which is what I'm here to present tonight. So based on that community support, based on the come out and buy a ticket, buy a meal, run or walk to help your community, I actually have donations for our Covington Firefighters Association and for our Wade Sharp Fraternal Order Police Lodge that I'd like to present to the police chief, I think is here. The dollar amounts are considerably less than what we're accustomed to, but based on how we put it together this year and only having half of the participation, it's a few dollars that we know they'll put to good use. So Chief, you're welcome. Thank you. And is there someone here from the fire department? Yes. And then, of course, lastly, through the volunteers that the YMCA sends out, especially this year, we help with navigating parking, and Mr. Rodriguez's lot was still rather soggy, so we were very careful about being respectful of our neighborhood. And volunteers came out and led by Councilman Roberts, made sure that we had folks strategically parked and that we had them well hydrated at a water station. So sometime this week, I'll stop by the YMCA and present them with a donation check of $1,500. So all things considered, we were pleased to be able to make the donations that we did and the amounts that we were able to secure. So we, again, thank the police department for providing some of their support, the city for their support, and as well as the fire department, and you all as well. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. We appreciate it very much, and everything that you do for the community. I know Councilman Roberts mentioned about the supporting the council, and we appreciate that. Thank you in the past. Okay, next on the agenda, Ms. Felicia Boudreau, Old Covington Homeowners Association. Councilman Verrett.
Yeah, Felicia, step right up. Felicia and I have had some very good conversations about our area. She's a District E resident. Her husband's here. You may not recognize him because he's usually high up in the sky over Covington. But she'd like to say a few words, and based on our conversations, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I reached out to Councilman Verrett about almost 2 weeks ago about an incident that happened in front of our home. We are at 1622 South Janky. The debris cleanup was happening. They finally made it to Janky and 6, and I was so excited because we had this massive tree that went down. It was causing one-way traffic. People were having to get over. I'm trying to leave my driveway, and a lady comes from Old Landing screaming, yelling, cussing at them, and she finally went around them. She told them to get out of the way. There's nowhere for them to go. The roads are narrow. We need to be neighborly with everything that's going on. Obviously it's not happening fast, but it's not going to happen fast. It doesn't take a day. But anyway, so I rolled down my window and I said, well, I'm actually getting ready to leave. You can block my driveway, not a problem. He said that she was the 5th resident that morning to scream and yell at him. So, which brought me to Councilman Verrett saying, why don't these people have help? Where are flags, barricades, or anything to help them, guide traffic in a different direction? And it was really hard for me to see. The guy said that there were multiple crews that have come in Covington and have quit because of the residents' behavior. I don't know the truth in all of that. It's what he told me. Then I started talking to him about the overgrowth and what happens in the 15-foot easement that the city owns. I watched, right after the hurricane, a home catty corner to mine. They worked on that house for 2 hours. I have a before picture of this home, and I have an after they worked on it. It looks like they did nothing. They were there for 2 hours. I don't understand why this isn't the homeowner's responsibility. If the city wants to claim it, great. Then they need to have stipulations and regulations on what is put on this 15-foot easement. I just laid very nice sod on my newly built home that has already been driven through because people don't care. And I'm not asking for yard of the months. I'm not asking for everybody to have the most perfect yard, but we're neighbors. If you need help and if you don't have the resources, I have 3 boys that need service hours for school. I'd be more than happy to put them to work. But I feel like I live on the best block in downtown, in Old Covington, and every one of us helped each other throughout the hurricane. And I'm happy to help. I don't know if we can get some type of association in our area, but there is, to me, absolutely no reason for anything to be on those power lines. If you need help and you don't have the resources, ask. We are all neighbors, and we all want this area to look beautiful. But if you went down 8th and Janky all the way through Old Landing, it was a mess. And other parts of Old Covington as well. But just from what I saw, it was a mess. And I feel like if the city owns that part, why isn't more done? So after talking with Councilman Verrett, my thought was, why don't we have it's like a storm cleanup, or a storm preparation. If you're not ready by hurricane season, by say July 31st, whatever anybody comes up with, start finding people. And if they reach out for help, let's help them, or, just get it done. To me, this shouldn't have happened. The amount of debris on these trees, the power lines that were down, it's going to happen. Every tree down on our property was not our tree. I had to spend the money to take a 42-foot tree off of my brand-new swimming pool. And I have damage to that. I have damaged a small part to the roof, and none of those trees belong to me. But it is what it is, and I'm okay with that, but somebody has to maintain these things. If you're not going to make the property owners maintain them, then the city needs to be responsible for them. People don't have that kind of money to be shelling out, to be taking trees down, to, stuff like that. And if it is on CLECO, then CLECO needs to be held responsible for that. I just don't think it's fair to us as homeowners for our properties to look the way that they do if the city claims to own that 15-foot easement. So that's my solution is, let's all be neighborly and work together and figure something out. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. And again, I'm not looking for yard of the month. I'm looking for, let's just maintain it, because there is a better way, I think. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boudreaux. Okay, next on the agenda, State Representative Mark Wright. I know Mark had a few words to say tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Council President Rolling. Members, appreciate a chance to talk briefly. I reached out to Council President Rolling after the last meeting that you had in August. There was a presentation about the casino. And I will tell you, a number of us were very disappointed with some of the things that were suggested by the combination of the heavily edited video and even some of the comments that were made about the legislator's role in this. So I'm here really to just sort of set the record straight briefly about what we didn't do, and some forgotten information, quite frankly, about that process. I'm not here to speak on behalf of or against the casino. It's just about what our role was. And, given it's a public forum, it's on video, I think it was, you're all elected officials. Our reputations are super important. And I think, it was just important for us to kind of say, hey, this is kind of what really happened. So a couple of quick things that I think a lot of people have forgotten. First off, we were contacted, the St. Tammany delegation, by the economic development arm of the parish, along with the parish and the parish council, and met in December and said they have this proposal of an existing casino license holder that would like to consider coming to St. Tammany, and that it would take essentially a vote of the people, as most people know now. But it required passing a bill through the legislature. We've seen it happen a number of times at the legislature. It's called a local bill, and basically you have to advertise it. And I will tell you, in the legislature, a lot of legislators sort of look at local bills as sort of sacred ground, right? If your local government's okay with it, I'm not going to get in the way of that. As long as I know all the legislators are behind it, your local government's behind it, we're going to let you do this, right? And that's the way we approach this, okay? In March, right, the parish council voted 11-1, asking us to do this bill, right? So that they could eventually put it on the ballot. So this was not something that the legislative delegation or specific legislators sort of took on their own and said, oh, hey, I want to see this happen, right? This was a very coordinated effort, okay? To the video. It's heavily edited. I'm not going to say what kind of intent was put to it, but I just think it's very important to point out a couple of things. First off, it was suggested that questions weren't taken, and that in some way that was suspicious, okay? First off, Representative Dubuisson was the author of the bill. She presented the bill. She took questions for a half an hour. That's a pretty long time in the legislature. Most bills pop up, they're gone in 10 minutes, right? And I can tell you there's a saying among legislators, especially in the House, because it's more of a circus in the House, 20 minutes go by, we got people asking questions, trying to play gotcha, and nobody changed their mind. Because most of the work is done before the bill's presented. People ask their questions, they do their homework, and then they make a decision. What you'll find is, after about 20 minutes, most people kind of say, okay, it's time to wrap it up. We have been there for 4 hours, right? It's certainly within an author's right to waive questions. And in fact, I suggested to her it's time to waive questions because it was very obvious that there was just some gotcha that was willing to be paid. But you don't see that in the video, right? Okay, I'm in the video as well, and I waive questions. Well, my role was simply to sit up there and show support on behalf of the delegation for the author to make sure that everybody understood the delegation is behind this bill. This is a local bill. Of course, you don't see what I said. I spoke after she presented the bill, and I basically said, listen, some of us on the delegation have mixed feelings about casino gambling. We get it, all right? But at the end of the day, this is a local question, and we're asking for you to support this on behalf of our parish. We're doing this for our parish. This is a local bill. So now that I got that off, I'm happy to answer any questions about any of this, but I think you all know Covington's important to me. I'm a resident. I sat with you all, work with you all. I'm just not going to let, some, let's just say, untruths be said about what we did or didn't do during the process. And I think a lot of people have forgotten some of the things that went along all the way up. Listen, if you're against it, vote against it. If you want to work against it, go for it. If you're for it, go for it. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, this was done all above board. We did everything we were supposed to do. I know there's some lawsuits out there, and there was some suggestion that the legislators crafted this language. That language is used in 5 other ballot provisions for casinos in the past. It's based on Attorney General provisions, certain parts of the Constitution, and certain laws that have been passed. Nothing was made up there. That was done in conjunction with legislative staff that know what they're doing, right? We're part-time legislators. We have to take advice at some point from attorneys who work in this field. So I'll leave it at that. I really appreciate the time and letting me do this, but it was just important to me to come here and say this.
I appreciate you coming and clearing the record, especially the procedure of it. I don't think we had any idea, or probably the public, on what the procedure and the background was as far as how did you get, to where you were with the bill. So we appreciate it. I don't know if anybody has anything else. Councilman Boxberg?
I just want to say thanks for your service and stuff, and actually clearing the air up, because according to that video, it seemed like it was all of your ideas and stuff like that. And to let us know that it came from the parish first, and then they presented it to you, like you said, like a local bill. And that makes a huge difference, and I really appreciate you clearing the air on that.
You got it, Councilman. Happy to do it. It's all true.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Good luck.
Don't be a stranger. Okay, moving on. Next up here, Mr. David Ritvo, on behalf of PE2 Peninsula Pacific Entertainment, the owner, developer, operator of the proposed Camellia Bay Casino Resort Marina Project.
Thank you very much, Council Member. Appreciate it.
And before you get started,
Sure.
back at our last meeting in August, correct, it was August, right? We did have a group that was not in favor of the casino. We did give them around 15 minutes to do their presentation, which obviously the state rep, Wright was talking about just a minute ago, and we all had an opportunity to hear. So we definitely want to give you that same right of around 15 minutes. Obviously, the council could have questions. They might not have any questions. But again, we appreciate you being here.
Appreciate that and appreciate the clarification. And members of the council and the mayor, Mayor Johnson, and the city of Covington, thank you very much for your time. I look forward to telling you about this amazing project that we might have the fortune enough to develop in St. Tammany Parish. By way of a brief introduction myself, my name is David Ritvo. I'm the Vice President of Development for the project and the local community liaison for the campaign that's going on right now. I'm a local resident in New Orleans. I'd like to take a couple minutes to provide some background on Peninsula Pacific, which is the developer and operator of this proposed resort. Our mission statement is very simple. We have service, quality, and community. In addition to these guiding principles, I would also like to add listening to that. in whatever market we have the privilege to operate, we listen to the host community, and we try to develop what works best for all. We build high-quality resorts and casinos, and we endeavor to deliver the best-in-class customer service to our guests, and finally, we look forward to being strong community partners in any community that we operate in. We have a 20-year track record of operational success in the hospitality and casino industry, and we have operations all over the country, including New York, Virginia, Kansas, and Iowa. We previously operated resorts and casinos in Louisiana and have a proven track record of success in delivering high-quality entertainment for guests and economic prosperity for our host communities. Whether it's our property, our $425 million property in New York, or our $300 million property in Sioux City, Iowa, we have created resorts that exceed the expectations of customers and provide an amazing guest experience. We have received over 220 awards over the last 5 years for quality and guest satisfaction from everyone from Wine Spectator to U.S. News and World Report. While we provide a great experience for our guests, we are most proud of our commitment to our host communities. And while we're proud of that dollar figure of charitable contributions, for us, the hours of volunteer hours committed to each community that we operate in is probably something that we try to endeavor. We put this commitment really into action after Hurricane Ida as we mobilized and set up multiple relief stations across St. Tammany Parish, where we donated over 100,000 shelf-stable meals, 5,000 hot meals, 6 semi-trucks of ice, and over 300,000 bottles of water. We also, at the end of our service, were able to put together a first responders meal that we hosted at the Justice Center on the east side of the same parish, where we were able to give out meals to first responders who were working to help the community recover from this effort. As I mentioned earlier, we listen to the community in which we develop, and throughout this process, in this pre-development process, we have engaged with the local community to inform what we are going to build, how we are going to build it, and how it's going to come together. These interactions have helped shape changes to our design, including the addition of a lazy river. And also, we had a naming contest where we had a lucky member of the community who actually came out and named this resort in support of us, which was the Camellia Bay Resort Casino and Marina. I have a short video to share, which will show you kind of an overview of the project and what it will look like when it is fully developed. So this development will be over 500,000 square feet of total resort development, of which approximately 15 to 20% of it will be a casino that will include a sports book and poker room. We have 100 luxury 4-star rooms that will include a spa and state-of-the-art fitness center, and this will be one of the few 4-star hotels on the eastern side of the parish. Our outdoor facilities will be open, will provide a unique opportunity for guests and members of the community to enjoy the lazy river, a resort-style pool and cabanas, and multiple food and beverage options. The food and beverage program at the resort will feature local participation through our food hall and a celebrity chef restaurant with multiple venues on the pool and outside the pool deck. I think one of the things that I'm most excited for is the opportunity to bring some serious live entertainment options to St. Tammany Parish. I think right now one of the things that we've noticed from engaging with the community and talking with the community is that in order for you to go see a show or a concert or something along those lines, you either have to go to New Orleans or you have to go to Baton Rouge or you have to go to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Our entertainment program is going to have 3 separate venues: an indoor facility with 1,500 seats, an outdoor facility that can house up to 8,000 people and will be used for outdoor events, community events, graduations, and then we'll have a small lounge within the casino that will be a songwriters lounge that will feature local and regional entertainment throughout the year. All of this entertainment, will be programmed by Buzz Entertainment Group, which is one of our regional partners who has won multiple awards for programming live entertainment across the country. I think the last large component of our resort is 20,000 square feet of meeting and convention space. So recently I spent some time meeting with Donna Daniels, who's the head of the St. Tammany Tourism Commission. And one of the things that came up that we found interesting was that she sometimes loses business or cannot book business because there's not a supplemental meeting and convention space to the Harbor Center on the eastern side of the parish. We believe this resort fills that need, and also with an adjacent hotel, she believes that she has the ability to drive more business, and we hope we can help fill the growth of business travel to St. Tammany Parish. I think one of the other largest components that we'd like to talk about is the economic impact of this resort. This project will be one of the largest economic development projects in St. Tammany Parish. In addition to the impacts of the resorts that I talked about with the components, you have the $35 million sports park, which we have gladly underwritten the funding of. This sports park will drive year-round tourism and visitation opportunities to the eastern side of St. Tammany Parish, in addition to providing a top-class facility for local sports leagues and clubs to utilize. We are excited to be able to underwrite this project and look forward to what St. Tammany Corporation and Chris Massengill's team can create. In addition to that sports park, we have committed to a 5% share of gaming revenues that will generate approximately $7.5 to $9 million annually through the parish. It will be dedicated to various efforts, including flood protection, drainage, police, and operations of the sports park. On top of that 5% share of commitment, we expect to generate over $6 million in other taxes, including hotel, sales, and property taxes. So combined, this resort will be generating between $13 and $15 million annually to be dedicated back into the community of St. Tammany Parish. And finally, we'll be creating both one-time jobs through the construction and development of this resort, approximately 1,700, which includes our direct employment and indirect and induced, and approximately 1,000 ongoing jobs and 1,900 total jobs within the community once this resort is operational. In conjunction with the economic impacts, we believe this resort will drive tourism and tourism dollars and create a vehicle to repatriate dollars that are lost to Mississippi and back into St. Tammany Parish. We have programs in place to market St. Tammany as a destination within the resort, and we look forward to partnering with businesses in the community through our Point Partner program. This program allows players at our resort and our casino to convert their database points into dollars and spend them back into the community through whether it be a restaurant, a florist, a dry cleaner, or any other business in the community. And we're actively out now talking to businesses about becoming part of this program so that when we are up and running, we can cross-promote and market these groups. We have made our initial investment in the sports complex with a $100,000 payment for pre-development services that was made to St. Tammany Corp. a couple of weeks ago. St. Tammany Corp. Is currently underway in the pre-development, and we're hopeful to see the initial rendering and concept plans shortly, and that process will continue throughout the lead up to the election. I think in addition to the economic development, this project will create jobs, and we have agreed to prioritize and invest in the community in sourcing those jobs to minority and women-owned businesses and the local community. During the construction phase, we expect to bring 1,000 direct jobs and 700 induced and indirect jobs. We have recently increased our minority and women-owned subcontractor percentages to 17.5%, and we hope to prioritize St. Tammany Parish subcontractors through this process. We have had multiple multiple interactions with people in the community to solicit lists of local vendors that we will begin reaching out to once we have the opportunity to develop this resort. From an ongoing perspective, this casino will generate, as I said, 1,000 ongoing jobs or 1,900 total jobs, including the indirect and induced. Average annual salaries of $45,000 with a comprehensive benefit package. We've committed to sourcing 50% of these jobs or more from St. Tammany Parish and from the region. And then finally, for sourcing within this resort, we take it a pride upon ourselves to source locally as much and as often as we can. So we will be first in St. Tammany, second we will source within Louisiana, and then third we will source nationally, but that's a priority for us. I think finally I'd like to close on a couple of, or I should say there's been a lot of talk in this room and in this community about some of the half-truths or other information that has been spoken about, and I'd like to address some of those right now. The first is kind of fact or fiction with regard to crime, income, property values, and divorce. Based on data and information from the FBI and the Department of Commerce, I think we can unequivocally say that crime rates and violent crimes are not impacted when casinos enter markets, including, and those markets that we looked at include Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, and the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. Additionally, we can prove that property values and median incomes go up when casinos enter markets. I think another issue that's been come up has been public safety, and this is extremely important to us. As a company, we are committed to providing a safe environment for our guests and for the surrounding community, and we have created a multi-pronged approach to ensure that that happens, including funding the construction of a St. Tammany Sheriff's substation adjacent to the property and staffing it throughout the year. In addition to the St. Tammany Parish substation, our internal security and surveillance system will include over 100 personnel and 800 cameras. We also look forward to working with both the Sheriff's Office and the Slidell Police Department to ensure open lines of communication with our security leadership. Now, I can sit here and talk to you all day about all of our security protocols, but I think what's more important is to hear it from members of communities in which we work in, law enforcement and first responders. And so I have a video from some of those first responders that we work with in other communities where we operate in Virginia and elsewhere. So I think there's also been some talk of our host community agreement, and I'd like to kind of clear up a couple of statements within it. First, the agreement is a binding contract between two entities, and it is tied to our license. This means our regulator, the Louisiana Gaming Control Board, can have oversight to ensure that we live up to the standards of it. Second, the gaming revenue share is based on a gross gaming revenue and will be monitored in real time by the state police because it is the same figure that our state gaming tax figure is based off of. I've heard from others that we can pack expenses into that number and reduce our commitment to St. Tammany Parish, and that is simply not true. Finally, we have provided an amendment to the agreement to clarify and respond to input from the community. That amendment moved forward the solidification and the funding of the sports park and increased our commitment to hiring minority and women-owned businesses during both the construction and development of the operation. I think, and finally, in closing, what I'd like to say is that I want to state that this vote now on December 11th approves the relocation of one of Louisiana's 15 gaming licenses to a specific location described on the ballot. If the voters approve this message, they are saying yes to a single land-based resort on a specific piece of land south of Slidell along Lake Pontchartrain. And I thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity.
I do have one question. I don't know if anybody from the council. Has the St. Tammany Chamber made a decision to endorse this effort or not?
They have not made a decision yet to endorse the effort.
And I know it's still a little early, obviously, because the vote's in December. I just wasn't sure. Any other business groups that have? That,
We're working with business groups right now to secure
okay.
those.
So nobody really has come out business group-wise in support or against that we know of? at
That's
this
true,
point?
yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Councilman Boxer.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation and stuff like that. It looks like it's going to be it could be a potentially a good place. We'll see. There's a couple questions I have. One is that the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff, as well as the Slidell Police Department, have both come out against you. How would you address that? Would be question number one. And question number two is your other facility in Bossier City that has weeds growing out of it and everything else. How would you address that as to why are you not in business there with that facility?
Sure, no, those are both great questions. I think, first of all, to answer your first one, like we pride ourselves on creating a safe and secure environment for our guests to enjoy an entertainment experience, and that's why we've committed to developing the sheriff's substation and funding the operation of it for once the casino is operational. So we believe we created an environment where we are going to have safety for our guests. I think to answer your second question about the Bossier City property, I think that property was shut down due to COVID, and we are not in a position right now to open it. That market right now is saturated with supply, and that is why we sought the opportunity to move this to a market where it can flourish and where it can drive positive impacts for St. Tammany Parish and positive impacts for the state through gaming taxes.
So did you speak with St. Tammany Parish Sheriff Randy Smith about the location of a substation there, and is he for that or against that?
So we spoke with him previously about that substation and had multiple conversations, and he was in agreement that was a good location for it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Councilman Smith.
We're talking about the Louisiana Gaming Board. We got 15 licenses, if I understand it correctly. Do their bylaws state that when somebody closes a casino, is there a time frame that they're supposed to surrender the license back to the Louisiana Gaming Board and for them to reissue a bid process for that license?
I'm not sure of the bylaws are in there, so I'd have to research it and get back to you.
My research says that.
Okay.
And it's just kind of made me think, why did, what was it, Diamond Jack? Why did they, when they closed their doors, not be forced to surrender their license and then put it back to bid? Okay? So that's one of the questions I had. And it kind of baffles me because I've been paying attention to this, that the advertisements, the announcements, the presentations, seems like the numbers always change, okay? It changes quite a bit, substantially. I've seen revenue projections of 185 million to 100 million, and so it's not just a little bit, it's pretty big. Why is it so inconsistent? Is it something that just kind of see which way the wind's blowing and then it changes a number or a projection? And how do you project revenue anyway at a casino?
So first of all, I have to disagree that the numbers have been changing. The numbers that you stated between 100 and 185 million, one was from a report from Spectrum Entertainment that was done by the state that said that a casino was going to be located in Tangipahoa Parish, and it was not inclusive of all of the additional development dollars that we are putting forth to that, including the hotel, the convention center, and the entertainment facility. So that number is a separate project. I think the other two numbers, one is a number that is our gross gaming revenue, and the other is a number that is inclusive of all of the revenue for the resort, which includes the hotel revenue, the entertainment revenue, and the food and beverage revenue.
Okay. And I guess the projections of revenue in Bossier City didn't kind of meet what they had hoped to meet because the place is closed, right?
I don't know if that's a fair characterization, but to answer your other question about where our revenue projections come from, we have engaged industry standard consultants that do studies like this to determine where revenue is generated from and what the revenue is going to be. That company has been around for over 30 years. They're actually based in New Orleans, and they did the revenue projections, our internal revenue projections for this resort.
I've seen 3 advertising pieces. How many restaurants do you plan on having? Because I've seen 5, 7, 10, 7, 5, back to 7.
So those changes have occurred because we've listened to the community, and the community has provided input to say that they would like other venues in the facility. So right now there is a food hall that is going to have 5 to 6 different vendors within it. There is a celebrity chef restaurant. there's the Show Riders Lounge, and then there's the Blind Tiger and an outdoor restaurant.
Do you feel like that's probably one of the reasons a lot of the small businesses in the Slidell area are opposed to this project because of the competition, like restaurants? People only have so many discretionary dollars to be spending in the restaurants, for instance. So you've got small businesses out there in the Slidell area, and I know this is Covington, okay, but we all one parish.
So I think it's
You're aware that not happen with the small business community?
Yeah, I disagree with the premise that we are going to be competition to those small businesses. I think there's multiple fronts where we are going to be driving visitation from outside the parish into the parish, and all of those visitors are not going to dine at our facility. Sure, they may come to the casino, they may come to a show, and they may come to a conference, but all of them are not going to dine at the facility, and there's an opportunity for those visitors to go out to the community. And I think the second important part is that we make a concerted effort to partner with businesses in the community to help uplift them through the Point Partner Program. So that program allows us to market those businesses and provide an opportunity both in the casino with signage and digitally through our ads and everything, that if you're a Point Partner, you get marketing opportunities, and then you get the opportunity for community members to spend their points at your business.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Ritvo.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very
for
much, sir. I
answering my
appreciate your time.
questions.
Thank you, council members. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We go, I'm sorry, Councilman Roberts, I'm sorry.
I'm a thinker, I'm
Sure.
sorry.
No.
So I guess my thing, and Rick almost, Councilman Smith almost touched on it there. If Bossier City's been attributed to closing down due to COVID, how can you be so confident that this one's going to be successful when we're still in the middle of a pandemic right now?
So, well, I think a couple of things. One is that we're confident that this resort is going to be successful here. I think, first of all, it was shut down due to COVID, but it also, as I mentioned, it was shut down because there was a saturation in that market, and that license was not performing up to its best ability. I think in response to kind of a post-COVID world, and we all hope that it's going to be a post-COVID world soon, should and when this kind of election, occurs on December 11th, and if we get it passed, we then have an 18-month to 24-month development and construction period. So the hope is by 2023, 2024, when this opens, we are way past COVID, and we are in a situation where everything is going great. Thank you.
We good? Thank you, sir, appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna move right on to the consent calendar. Regular meeting minutes dated August 3rd of 2021. Special meeting minutes June 15th of 2021. Emergency meeting minutes September 2nd of 2021. And again, since we are under an emergency ordinance and had to cancel the September 14th, 2021 council meeting, the budget for 2022 is being introduced this month. Introduction of item number 2021-1001, an ordinance of the City of Covington adopting the 2022 operating budget and the 5-year capital outlay budget for the years 2022 through 2026 for the City of Covington. Also, introduction of item number 2021-10-2, an ordinance of the City of Covington setting the compensation of the mayor of the City of Covington for the year 2022. I need a motion to accept the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis?
Thank you. Okay, regular agenda, items to be voted on. Public hearing action, item number 2021-0801, an ordinance of the City of Covington declaring the unconstructed portion of President's Drive a 6-foot road extending from Mediterranean Drive to Mile Branch, abandoned, vacant, closed, and not needed for public purposes. Planning case number 210702 SAC Street renovations. Councilman Roberts.
Yes, and this should be fairly quick because they have gone through the appraisal for the property. It's basically 14th Street and President Street meet. They all run to a right-of-way that runs to Mediterranean. It is no longer needed. It has never been needed. It's never been in service. And therefore, we've put a fair market value on it, had it appraised, and it will go to cash value to the property owners. So planning and zoning I've received no opposition since this has started, and so I think all is well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're going to open the public hearing at this point. Anyone from the public that will like to address this? Seeing none and hearing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second,
Second.
any council comments? Hearing none? Okay. I need a motion to adopt, please. Need a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis? Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
All right. Moving right on to new business. Resolution number 2021-16, a resolution of the City of Covington confirming the reappointment of William Courtney to the City of Covington Municipal Fire and Police Civil Service Board for a term of 3 years. Councilman Smith.
Yes, and Mr. Courtney, as I spoke to him earlier, we appreciate you taking your experience and time and agreeing to go ahead and get reappointed for a term of 3 years back to the Civil Service Board. According to law, Louisiana law, it needs to be appointee. The appointee has to be coming from a president of a four-year institution of higher education. And the president of Southeast Louisiana University nominated Mr. Courtney. So with his experience and want to, I would imagine he's the best guy for the job.
Yes, indeed. All right, thank you, sir. We'll open up the public hearing on this behalf. Anyone from the public would like to speak on this behalf? Seeing none, hearing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
I need a second. Also, council comments?
Nope.
None? Okay. We can go, motion to adopt, please.
Motion to adopt.
I need a second. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis? Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Courtney, we appreciate your service to our community, and again, we thank you very much. Next, resolution number 2021-17, a resolution of the Covington City Council confirming a reappointment of Ella D. Selman to the City of Covington Municipal Fire and Police Service Board, Civil Service Board for a term of 3 years. Councilman Smith again.
Yes. Ms. Selman, she and I spoke. She's enthused. She wants to do it again. So we appreciate all the things that she does in our community. And again, she was nominated by the president of Southeast Louisiana University. And she's got experience at this. And I think she does a terrific job at whatever she chooses to go after and do. So she's got my support for sure. Thank you all.
Very well said. Okay, we're going to open it up for public comments. Anyone from the public on this behalf? Hearing none and seeing none. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second,
Second.
council comments. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Ms. Ella, we definitely appreciate everything you do for the community, and keep up the good work. Okay, we're going to move right on to council comments and reports. We're going to start with Councilman Lewis, District A.
Well, I don't know where to start. We had a long couple of months with Hurricane Ida and dealing with COVID. I guess I want to first say thank you to everybody in the council, administration, and I guess the volunteers. And You know, I think, I feel we still have a long way to go, and I'm gonna just talk about my district for now. We still have a lot of people in need of things to be done in the district. You know, trees to be removed, homes to be repaired, services to be put back in place. You know, when Hurricane Ida hit, it was a lot done to the city of Covington. Not having resources here created a lot of confusion for our residents. Lack of planning within our community, within our homes, created a lot of confusion. With that said, we moved forward. We got through it. One person at a time, starting with myself, and then teaming up with Patrick McMath and the VFW, Project Blessing, and Convoy of Hope, even Mr. Botsford, and sorry, I can't think of your name over there. Our president over here. We got through it. With that said, I think, you know, like one of the speakers spoke earlier, we need to remember that we are our neighbors. And if we can help, we need to help. If we can afford to help our neighbor, I mean, lend a helping hand. I was just able to start doing stuff in my yard, in my house, because I spent so much time helping other people. I can probably talk all evening, but I'm going to just stop there. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to District B, Councilman Botsford.
Okay, so like Peter said, I'd like to thank Peter. He and I teamed up quite a bit during the storm to bring supplies and everything to our community, to both of our districts. Not only in our districts, we were helping people out in lines and so on and so forth, directing them, giving them information as it came in. I'd also like to thank Public Works. Those guys, man, y'all were in my district as far as I can see. I did drive around to other districts, but I specifically saw your guys in there with the generators humping around doing stuff. I really commend y'all. I mean, y'all did a fantastic job. Fire and police, you guys knocked it out of the park. I mean, you guys are just awesome. And thank you. Thank you for doing all that, staying with the storm, as you know, some did. And the thing is that what I thought was really great is when we were doing our distributions, and like everybody's kind of touched on, it was such a community effort. I mean, people helping people. St. Paul's, you know, their athletic team showed up loading boxes and cars and stuff like that, humping ice and stuff. They really liked the ice, though. I got to say that. They liked being in the ice trucks. So, but yeah, they were really quick to volunteer for that one. But, you know, it's just about getting to the community and getting to people that couldn't necessarily access these sites because of, you know, they didn't have vehicles, elderly, so on and so forth, delivering hot meals and things like that. It was really great. The other thing is that I want to bring up is of course, is the food bank. And there's so much in here from what they did from the storm, you know, stuff like that, between giving out pallets and pallets and, you know, boxes and boxes full of food, and 18-wheelers full of disaster relief supplies, that not only here, Lacombs, all over the place, all over the parish. I mean, these guys were just out there everywhere. I really commend them for what they're doing. They wanted me to let everybody know that they are fully operational. Their store hours for they're taking for donations and for shopping for the resale shops up and running. They're also having a resource bank coin drive. Turn in your coins to Resource Bank and make a donation to the food bank. That's from October 4th through the 15th. Pallets with a Purpose is coming up. That's their annual event. And if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of a casino night, which kind of goes with our presentation here on that. But that's going to be on November 12th. So visit their website for more information. October's most needed items: mac and cheese, canned fruit, canned veggies, canned beans, and cereal. And I did almost forget the administration, too, for y'all's hard work and stuff like that. I don't want to miss y'all too, for staying behind and, being out there without the AC and out the, just plugging along throughout the whole storm, stuff like that. So I appreciate y'all being there too. And that's it for District B.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to District C. Councilman Roberts.
Yes, I can echo both of what they said with thanks to everyone associated with the city and just stepping forward. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but I remember becoming a dad, having 3 kids, and when I used to cross the causeway, my biggest fear was if this car ever goes off the causeway, how do you know what kid to grab? And it's a crazy situation, right? Because you're thinking, you got to save all your kids, but how? How do you make the choice? Who's first? Who's last? And so when a storm hits an entire city, how do you know who to start helping first? And it's hard. It is. I don't know if the word perfect is even close to having to be a word in the aftermath of a storm. And so I've learned it's 10% things that happen and 90% how you react to it. And to know that we can only do so much in so much time and in so much of an order, that what does that even look like? When it comes to District C, and I don't think everyone in District C will agree with this, we fared okay. We had a lot of people out there, a lot of people helping, people were neighborly, and things worked out. When it comes to other districts, you hear the commotion still ongoing, and I don't know how that ever looks perfect in the next storm, and I think we learned a lot. And given the situation, I think we did a great job in this situation. I think we learned a lot of what we can do for the next situation, and it's only going to keep getting better as we go. It was not a Katrina issue in a sense, where Ida prepared us because of Katrina, and I think Ida prepared us now for what's going to come next, because we're in Louisiana. It's going to happen again at some point. So I hate to use a reference of my kids, but that's really what I feel like in the storm was what district needs to help and who do you react. And so I commend everybody for just making the decisions. It's a hard decision to make when you say these are the things that need to be addressed now, and then you get them done and you just move on as you go. It's never going to feel perfect ever. Going to District C stuff, I see Patricia Drive is back on the ball and they're working, so thank you for doing that. And other than that, I think this opened my eyes up to some spots in District C that I know we need to address as far as lift station stuff and drainage, which we're all working on right now anyway. So kudos to everyone. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're talking about it, and let's learn from it and get better as we go. This is for District C.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Moving on to District D, Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yes, I guess while we're talking about the storm, can't believe it's been a little over a month now. Yes, I do agree. Everyone was incredibly neighborly. Some of the stuff Felicia was talking about, we definitely didn't experience in District D, as far as I know. Everyone was helping their neighbors cleaning up their yards. The West 20s did a cooking event for the West 30s where everyone kind of came together. That was wonderful. SSA was a huge help with that. Peter took a day, SSA took a day, me and some of my friends took a day, so that was awesome. We had a lot of St. Peter's kids helping. I don't know about the child labor laws there, but anyway, everyone was more than happy to get out and play some basketball and give out some hot meals. The St. Tammany Parish Library is back to in-person events, which is awesome, as of October 1st. That's in my district, as well as, of course, the hospital. I asked Melissa for a comment. She said that the main campus did not skip a beat. Some of their smaller campuses around had some damage, but they kind of just diverted their offices and everything to other areas. Thankfully, St. Tammany Parish Hospital has a sprawling campus throughout St. Tammany, and they were able to kind of keep moving forward as if nothing had happened. She said, thankfully, COVID hospitalizations are down, which is awesome. That is due to, they think, an increase in the vaccine rates, but she also wants to encourage people to continue to get their vaccine, as well as they expect the flu season to be an intense one. So she wanted to remind everyone to get their flu shot as well. Let's see what else. Oh, yes, thank you, Public Works. Chris, y'all were awesome. Fire, police, as everyone has said. Administration, communication was excellent as far as I'm concerned. The multiple e-blast and Facebook post and, everything, I think is as good as it could be in a situation with the lack of internet and power and everything. So So thank everyone for a concerted effort. I think we still obviously have a long way to go in certain areas, but for the most part, we're definitely getting there considering it's only been a month or a little over a month. So that's really it. Event-wise, it's October, so we have a million things happening, which is great. Chilling at the River concerts. Overcycling comes back tomorrow. Speaking of storm recovery, I'm super excited about that. Mine's been overflowing for a while. So recycling returns to, oh, what's today? Tuesday? Yes, okay. It's been a long 2 days, apparently. Thursday, recycling returns, whenever recycling usually is. Chilling at the River is Thursday at 5:30. Gosh, yes, Chilling at the River, yeah. Thursday. The name, I still call it Rockin' the Rails. In my phone, it's Rockin' the Rails. Sunset at the Landing is on the 15th, and that's also at the Columbia Street Landing. The Art Market with the St. Tammany Art Association is back at the Trailhead. Keep Covington Beautiful is also doing their river sweep that day. So look on our city's website for information on how to get involved in that. We are doing, not in its formal capacity like we've done in the past for the Beer Fest because of COVID and then Ida and all the other obstacles we face. But again, we're pivoting, and y'all are the first to hear. We're going to do a beer pairing dinner with Siler Bar, and the owners of Gnarly Barley are going to come speak and pair everything. And as always, it benefits the Covington Boys and Girls Club, which I think over the last several years we've been putting on Oktoberfest. We've donated like 40,000, maybe more. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but I know last year we did 22,000, which was our biggest year ever. So I'm hoping, obviously it's a much smaller scale, but it's for the Boys and Girls Club of Covington. And we're excited to get to do something despite, COVID and hurricane relief efforts. So that's all I have for events. Block party as usual. I think it's the last one of the year, Mark. Is it the last block party of the year? I think so, yeah. October 29th, and then Chicken and Treatin' at the Trailhead is a kids event on the 30th. And that's all for events.
Great report. Again, things are moving in Covington, so we appreciate all the updates. Moving on to District E, Councilman Barrett.
I just wanted to echo some of the council comments. I was making some notes. I don't think I could overstate some of the level of destruction, especially in Old Landing. I think the feelings there are valid, that they were the last to get their electricity, they were last to get the internet, and now there's feelings of they're last to get the debris pickup. I think trying to give the city a grade at this point is kind of like asking you to get a grade while you're still taking the tests. And so I do see a representative of our contractor here. Thank you. I think the council is going to have to, after, not tonight, but kind of address what we did right, what we did wrong, and what we can do better. With that said, department heads, Chris Davis, Public Works, you got my gratitude, you got my support, you know that. You got the fire chief here, the police chief, you knocked it out of the park. I saw you guys everywhere. I was here before, during, and after the storm. And Chris Brown, I know you had nothing to do, right? So, but seeing you reminds me that we have waived building permit fees till October 26th, if I'm correct. I would urge all of our residents, I think at this point you're going to know if you may need a permit. Go ahead and put in. Well, sure, and I'm sure we have a code enforcement officer that'll step out. Oh, no, we don't. Okay. But, so in any event, try to, if you think you're going to need one, go ahead and put it in. But look, there'll be time to discuss the good, bad, and the ugly. Right now, let's just get the job done.
Thank you, Councilman Barrett. Appreciate it. Councilman at Large, Smith, you're up.
All right, thank you. It's good to see everybody. One thing that, we gotta give thanks, man. That this storm hit us hard. I feel grateful that nobody lost their life. Okay, it's just phenomenal that nobody was really seriously injured by one of these trees. It's just mind-boggling. Of course, kudos to all the essential personnel, including the mayor, his administration, Chris, police chief, fire chief, you guys were awesome. I heard a bunch of great comments from residents about, man, policemen have been so good, waving by, stopping, saying, make sure everything's good. I know Chief Blocker, I asked you guys to check on a couple of elderly residents that they commented that, you know, they were appreciative. Chris, and you guys, baby, keep up the good work. I don't know how y'all do it, okay? So, with that said, I don't want to keep going on and on and on because, yeah, this has been a test of everybody's patience, okay? And I'm talking from the council to the administration, for sure, everybody, residents. You know, I heard the young lady talking about 5 residents yelling at the workers out there on Janky Avenue. I get it, man. People are at the end of their rope with this deal. And I think the most frustrating part was, and there's no rhyme and reason to this debris cleanup thing, you know? Like I had a guy call me this afternoon and said, man, did the first pass take place already in Old Landon because there's a truck out there picking up construction debris, not trees. I thought they were supposed to pick up the trees first, or the greenways. So there's a lot of confusion. My answer to him was, just be grateful that somebody's picking up something, okay? Because there are trucks everywhere. They're out there. And I took a ride out to Highway 1081 to one of the dump sites where Ceres, am I pronouncing that correctly? Ceres? Where they're dumping the green waste. It looked like some kind of Jurassic Park movie or something. I thought I was in North Carolina from about 1,000 feet away. It looked like mountains in the background. It's incredible. And the guy that owns that landfill, unprovoked, I didn't ask him, he said, yeah, I got 2 contractors, maybe 3, but I know he said at least 2. He said, I wish I'd at least my whole property to Cirrus. I said, why is that? He said, they're the most efficient, the hardest working, the most well-organized. I said, well, how do you compare them? He said, well, for instance, I think St. Tammany Parish, the unincorporated parts of St. Tammany Parish is using a different contractor. He said, Cirrus has brought in 10 times what they've brought in with debris. That kind of impressed me. But I'm telling you, people are working. Patience is thin. I get it. Let's hope it never happens again, although Councilman Roberts, we live in Louisiana, chances are we're going to get nailed again, you know. Let's learn from it. And again, just thanks to everybody for doing your jobs. That's it. Thank you.
Very well put. I just have a couple of comments on the hurricane thing real quick, and then I have 2 other things. I appreciate talking about the volunteers and the nonprofits. They did a great job. Project Blessing was there the whole way, giving out a lot of things to the public, so we appreciate them. Obviously, the administration and the council, everyone on this panel up here worked their butts off in their districts and also throughout the whole community. So I thank you. This is strong leadership up here, and we appreciate you very much. And also the administration. Getting the debris contractors staged before the winds died down was huge. That's why CLECO, I know, talked to the mayor about this. That's why CLECO started in the city of Covington, because the streets were starting to be cleared before a lot of municipalities out there were cleared. So thank you for that vision ahead to get those trucks staged out of the area until the winds died down. I think that was critical. But I agree. I mean, I think you're always going to hear who's last, who's first. You know, I don't know what the rhyme and reason is, but there is going to be a chance for us to review this, learn from it, grow from it, and improve, and that's going to happen. I know it will. So I think the department heads, they did a wonderful job, just like everybody was mentioning. And again, the best is yet to come for the city. We're going to recover from this, and we're slowly seeing that now. But everybody's been touched with this, one way or the other. If your house was not touched, you were extremely lucky. But I think everybody had some type of damage, if it's trees or not trees. If you were lucky not to have any trees in your yard, I had 2, and you were very lucky. So that being said, we're going to come back as a strong community. Okay. 2 things I want to, well, one more thing really want to talk about. I had the honor this morning to attend the Covington Kiwanis Club, the Covington chapter, to speak there this morning. And I really want to thank that group at the YMCA, by the way, great organization at the YMCA. But they are such a caring organization, and they give a lot back to this community. So support them in any way you can. I know sometimes they have events, selling food, and their monies go right back into the community. Very hard workers, very good people. So I wanted to mention that. But that's pretty much all I have right now. I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Smith. You have one more thing before we move on to administration.
Something that I really should have mentioned, and I didn't, and it's probably because I'm not in first place. No, but Chief Farrell and I, we're trying to raise money for Hope House. It's fighting a war against child abuse. They've got their main fundraising thing, which is men who cook, and we've got celebrity cooks. I'm not a celebrity, I'm not really a good cook either, but I'm on this team, and Chief's got a team also. And we're raising money. It's November 7th. The gala is at the Justice Center's parking lot up top, on the rooftop of the parking garage. Lots of fun. If you're not familiar with it, you can go online, and let's see what it. It's cachhopehouse.org, okay? Learn all about this event. I think it's one of the best things that takes place in this city for the right cause, which I can't think anything ain't worse than child abuse, okay? So I think Councilman Botsford, you wanted me to say something. Why don't you take that over about Halloween or whatever?
Yeah, just remind everybody that Halloween is on Sunday, and that's when the trick-or-treating is going to be. I verified that with the head trick-or-treater himself. So, also to let you know, on November 6th, the day before your event, is Porch Fest. I have 5 bands lined up for this. I got to get the rest of the stuff going with the city and everything. So we have Chris Talley and the Three Rivers Cooperative, Ben Redwine, Amity Frederick, Poisson Rouge, and Delta Funk. And it's all going to be on the other side where the original Porch Fest was at, off of South America Street, Louisiana Street, and all that. We have just 2 more yards to get, and then the formalities with the city and everything. Also with that, we'll be looking for donations, and as well as what Rick was talking about, or Councilman Smith, the proceeds and everything that we raise over the amount that it costs us just to pay the bands and that are fees will go to the Hope House as well. So we've already talked to them. They're super excited, super good. We did, for last year, we raised a couple thousand for the food bank, and this time we're going to spread it around and go to the Hope House on that one.
Thank you. One last thing I did forget to say. Tomorrow, Coast Council on Aging St. Tammany is having a tailgate party for the seniors at the Castine Center. So if anybody here would like to go, it's 9:30 to 1 p.m. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to administrative comments and reports. Mayor Mark.
Thank you, Councilman President Rowling and members of the council. Want to reiterate one of the comments that's been a theme of the council members this evening in their comments, and that is in regard to disaster relief assistance. A few days after, we get over the initial shock of a storm, we start realizing individuals that have individual needs. It's the role of local government, it's our role to, first and foremost, to address public safety. And we do that by immediately going in and clearing the roads, making sure CLECO can come in and restore power, making sure that our sewer lift stations are working, our sewer systems working, our water wells are working, our fire trucks and our ambulances can safely get to their destinations, and that our police have freedom to patrol our city and protect it. It's hard to say because it's such an important part of storm recovery that delivering personal relief to individuals is not our role. You can't be all things to all people. And you have to recognize what your role is and make sure you do that and recognize. And to that end, it's just a huge thank you to the churches, the school teams, the Kiwanis Club, the Rotary, the service organizations, to the council folks up here that deliver that assistance and help deliver and organize the ice and organize the water. And on a government level, it is the role of FEMA on the federal level. We did introduce a new position this year. What's her name? Courtney Graves, who we now have put in charge of gathering who the resources are. And so that we're already learning from this experience. She gathers where the resources are located, and then council people or individuals can contact her with a need of assistance. The city itself is not going to deliver that relief, but there's no reason we can't be the nexus that facilitates who's got the resource and who needs the resource. And that's one of the things that we will be doing. So that's one of the takeaways that we've already learned from this event. I also would like to thank the council for its patience on this perhaps not being the right time to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the event. I think what we really want to do is maybe set up a committee meeting down the road and bring folks in and say, okay, explain to me how this all went down, and you tell me there's a methodology and there's a way that it all works, and why did it work this way, and in hindsight, if we had wanted to, would we have done it a different way? Just Cherokee Lane was the last one to get electricity, the last one to get internet, and I actually told those residents they will always be the last ones. They're at the very end of the line, and there's only 7 homes, and the CLECO goes by customer count at some point. But there's just all these little tidbits that kind of blend together. I think over the last month, we've heard enough from me. I've said quite a bit in the e-blasts and on social media in an attempt to get our city's message out. So tonight, I thought, with your permission, I would have each of the department heads come up and share a little bit about their takeaway or their experience or whatever they wanted to, and I think that the council would like to hear that. I think the public would like to hear that. So with that in mind, Chief Blocker.
Thank you. It was all good. Out of my 24 years serving here, being through different disasters, from hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, by far this was the smoothest run. And a lot of that was the pre-plan, having these push crews mobilized prior to the storm. That saved your essential personnel for us to refocus and get back to public safety.
Good evening to deal with. So that's a great thing. I think that was because we were able to double up our manpower. You saw a lot more officers out there at the time. So it helped. So, we think we have it bad here. If you go to the South Shore, my family lives in Lafitte, and most of them lost everything. So we can sit back and complain about a few trees down. I think that's pretty good. So with that being said, I thank y'all for the opportunity, to serve the city of Covington. And I think we're making a difference. Just from a unrelated storm note, since June, the PD conducted 612 traffic stops. We only issued 308 tickets, and I think we're already seeing a difference in as far as the speeding and the traffic accidents go. It was all in the Savannahs. During the course of this time also, we made 120 arrests, and we taken 7 guns off the street. So, but that's a kudos to the men and women of the department for working hard and doing their part. So, yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Good evening. Good evening. Basically, for our Department of Public Works, it was it was awesome because we actually had firemen that was actually doing our job. The firemen were actually on equipment moving trees. Pre-planning means everything. When this storm hit, the Department of Public Works was able to get out on the streets and start to open streets along with the fire department and the police department. That allowed Ceres to be able to bring their trucks directly in and start working, which allowed CLECO to be able to come directly in and have open roads and say, hey, we got low-hanging fruit in Covington, let's get it. So I think this storm, it was really, really smooth. I know that there's a lot of debris out there. A lot of the debris that we're seeing out there now is, a lot of this stuff was put out there prior to the storm, if a lot of people don't know that. But it will get up. Our patience is being tested, but overall, I think that we graded ourselves. We gave ourselves like a 6 out of 10. There's always stuff that you're going to learn from each one of these storms, but I can tell you, I think we pretty much hit it on the head. We prioritized that old landing area. I remember sitting in the truck the day of the storm, Covington High parking lot with Aaron, the CAO, Ceres, Stephen Michelle, and we were asked, what areas do you want to hit? 8th Avenue to Old Landing was one of our main priorities. It's just so tight working in that area. But if anybody was there, you'd know that there was trucks like bumper cars rolling through there. CLECO, Ceres, Public Works. I got some scratches on that public vehicle to show you how tight those streets are in there. But overall, everybody worked together. I mean, when you're tired and you're looking and you say, we need a break, and a fireman jumps up on a piece of equipment and starts working, this team is an awesome team, and I am very, very proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you for giving me a chance to give you an overview of how we prepare for these storms and how we react from the administrative level. So before storm season even hits, we start working on our hurricane plan, okay? And so we worked on our draft for this year starting in the spring. We look at this in conjunction with the flood response plan that was written by the Water Institute of the Gulf in 2017 after the 2016 floods. We also look at ensuring that the necessary contracts are procured properly for FEMA reimbursement and that they are in place for hurricane season. This includes the debris push/removal and debris monitoring. And as we did this year, I worked very closely with Chris Brown, who did a fantastic job. We attended an online GOSEP training. We did research. We looked at Louisiana Legislative Auditor guidance. We talked to Rod about the appropriate procurement methods, and we went through this whole process that took months to complete. It involved doing a full RFP, getting responses back. We put together an evaluation committee. It was very in-depth. And so we were very fortunate to get that contract in place just 10 days before this storm. So we were very fortunate. The other thing we do is that we ensure that internal policies and staff resources are in place with an eye on FEMA regulations. We focus on emergency pay policies, food arrangements for emergency personnel, making sure the mayor and each department head have active credit cards that can be used to purchase food, supplies, gas after the storm is needed. Because some stores aren't open, so they can either go before and stock up for their staff, or sometimes as stores open, they need to go get ice, whatever, to feed the essential employees. We check generators, we update FEMA forms, we look at requisitions for storm-related purchases, draft emergency declarations, and look at sheltering considerations. So the hours leading up to the storm, we had the emergency declaration that was issued effective August 27th. This not only set us up for FEMA reimbursements, but it also triggered the timeline for emergency response pay and mandatory sheltering for staff. The weekend prior to the storm, we had initiated and issued purchase orders for the debris contracts under the guidance of Chris Brown. He said we need to get these POs in place. So on Saturday evening, Nina, who's not here anymore, Chris Brown and I were working on getting POs issued, and we had notices to proceed drafted that the mayor simply had to sign to get it done. Also, I think per the contract, the debris contractor had push crew equipment that was staged nearby that could be activated as soon as we made the phone call. So after the storm, I got a phone call from Chris Davis that said you need to activate the debris contract. That was 6 o'clock in the morning, the day after the storm. So we called the contractor, we activated it, and they were in town. We were meeting with Kevin in the parking lot by 11 o'clock that morning. With Chris Davis and with Jim O'Berry, we stood there and we broke the city out into zones, and they initiated the push contract within hours. We had equipment arriving and moving trees out of roadways. And that was a success, because a lot of places did not have that. We moved very quickly, and it was because we prepared ahead. So we also activated the debris monitoring contract, and we haven't talked about them very much, but their job is to help us monitor the debris that's picked up. Every truck that gets picked up, or every truckload of debris that gets picked up, delivered to the site to be, what do you call it, ground down or something? Yeah. So they monitor everything. They take pictures, they take GPS points, they, take measurements of every truck. And so we pay for that service to monitor their activity, so we can turn around and justify to FEMA that we should be reimbursed for this. And then at the same time, we had administrative staff that reported for specific functions. Callie Baker and Todd Glass helped with infrastructure damage assessments. Chris Brown came in and performed private property damage assessments and set up shop to start processing disaster-related permits. Nina Sweeney reported to oversee the financial side of the storm and keep the annual budget and audit on track, which we are still working on, as you know. Quentin Bellinger reported to assess damage to IT infrastructure and ensure communication systems were functional. Ann Fatzer assisted with FEMA documentation and interdepartmental coordination as needed. Eugenie Leggio and Alyssa Landry reported to start paperwork and calculations on emergency pay structures, and these are just a few of the people that reported within days after the storm. So now I'm going to give you an update on the FEMA claim process. So FEMA classifies reimbursements into eligibility criteria. We know that right now that Category A, which is debris removal, and Category B, which is emergency protective measures, which includes your staffing, immediate response after the storm, all of those things. Those have been approved for 100% reimbursement through October 10th, at which point we will go to a 90-10 cost share, which means that FEMA will reimburse 90% of our expenses, and we have to cover the remaining 10. Category C through G, which includes damages to facilities, infrastructure, et cetera, has not yet been approved by FEMA. The deadline to submit our applications is December 28th. On September 7th, the administration submitted the request for public assistance to FEMA. We were approved on September 14th. The mayor then signed and submitted the required memorandum of understanding for receipt of the funds, which is still under review. As of this morning, we found out that we have now been assigned what they call a PDMG, which is a program delivery manager. That is the person that's going to help us within FEMA process or prepare and submit our claim for reimbursement. So now where the administration really has to start focusing is that, as Mayor Mark stated in the latest community newsletter, we now have to take every document that these guys in the field did, and they did a fantastic job. We have daily activity logs where I think one of Chris's guys, every time he stopped at a stop sign, he wrote down what equipment he was driving in, what time he stopped at that stop sign, where he was headed, and what we can do is take that information back into not just his personnel hours, right, but then we can back into the equipment usage, the equipment that was used, and then also what damage he was addressing. So we get 3 types of FEMA forms that are required for reimbursement out of this one form. And that was a streamlined process that we were fortunate to have in place from the previous administration. So we take all of those bits of information, and then we put them in the proper forms, and then we justify how this comes as an expense that is attributed to the storm. So this is something that we will be working with our debris monitoring contractor on, because we have a person within that contract that will help us navigate this process. I can assure you that this is going to end up lasting years. These are documents that we will have to prepare, submit, resubmit, and then respond to requests for information from FEMA. Am I right? Yes. Okay. So in conclusion, I just want to say I cannot express how grateful I am to have worked with such an amazing team through this. As Gary said, we met every day. We were talking all day throughout the day, pretty much 24 hours a day if anything came up. As a community, we are very fortunate that the events that require us to fully utilize our disaster preparedness plans are very few and far between. We do our best to prepare for every what if, but every event is different. So what we do now, which we've already started this process as of September 23rd, is we get together and we talk about what worked and what did not work. And we've already started this process. I know you mentioned that. And so what we do is we start working through it. We look at, we can't anticipate every single thing that's going to happen, but we can do our best. So while we are still recovering and while we are preparing FEMA paperwork, we will simultaneously be working on our plan for the next event that occurs. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Yes, Councilman Smith.
Prior to October 10th, is there any way we can get a guesstimate as to how much that debris will be, the tree debris will be removed before we're responsible for 10% of it? Because it's 100, if I understood you correctly,
We
it's 100%.
receive daily reports on the amount that is picked up.
It was 100% reimbursed up to the 10th of this month,
Up until the
right?
10th, and-
So we get 5 days, and then we got to start eating 10% of the cost, correct?
Correct. And I will tell you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, that's correct. And I would suggest that we just do as much 90-10 as we can. We talked about the amount that has been removed now. What are our POs up to at this point?
For debris removal alone is 1.5.
We're currently at 1.5 million, but we'll probably hit 2 million. And if we need to spend $1 million removing the additional debris, and it cost us, the city, $100,000, it's well worth it. It's well worth it.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But is there
what I've shared with Ceres and with Tetra Tech, make it all go away. Let's not slack on this. We know we've got people sneaking stuff out there that's not storm damage. It doesn't matter. We have to pick it up regardless anyway. The wonderful contract we have with Coastal that they pick up everything is just phenomenal.
And as you're aware, and I'm aware, and a few other councilmen are aware, there's a perception of low-hanging fruit. I would suggest that in the next 5 days, leave the low-hanging fruit for Public Works and the city to clean up, and get the heavy stuff. You know what I'm saying.
We're going to talk. We're going to discuss that methodology at the committee hearing, because it's very the big root balls and the stump. You start going off into a tangent of specialized equipment that has to be brought in just to pick up those the large stumps, and it comes in and it does all of them at once.
Right.
So.
All right, good luck, and just hope in the next 5 days we can get as much as you can get, man.
Can I
Appreciate
comment
it.
on that? I'm sorry. Ceres actually pointed out to me early on what the timeline was for the 100% reimbursement, which has then since that time been extended, and he pointed out it is to our benefit to get as much as we can. So he has had that in his mind the entire time.
I have a question on that too, Aaron. That was kind of my question is, I know the 10th it's been extended, but is there a chance that we could extend it even further, or is that it?
Mayor Mark has reached out to the delegation and to our congressman, yes, so to express.
We expressed that request, but let's not count on it. Let's not get hung up on the 100%, the 90-10.
Normally,
in the big picture, it's more important that we return our city to what it should be.
the cost share is normally 75-25, so this is still a great help.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. If it's 90-10 after October 10th, how long does that last? We know that if recovery is going to be years, how long would it keep in that?
We have, I believe, 6 months to make a claim on all of the storm-related damages. There was no time limit. When I reread the language this afternoon, I did not see a time limit for the 90-10.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate something, I guess make a statement, into the comments of what the mayor was saying about what the job is for the city and cleaning the roads so that people can come in and getting the resources for our districts and community. In my experience with this storm and having to find a truck, a trailer, and then hauling ice and water from Mandeville to Covington was work, a lot of work, not what I experienced or expected. Second, it seems like you guys did a lot of preparing with the city and administration, which was great. In that preparing, I think that the city or the council can also include some type of preparing for the resources such as water and ice for the community. I think I even made that comment to Aaron at one point before the storm.
So I did research some LLA opinions on that matter. And what you get into is taking public funds to give out to private individuals. And there is some, there's some processes that have to be laid out to be able to do that.
I guess my problem with that is, I know you created a position for Courtney to find resources, but what good is the resources if they're not in the city of Covington or if the community can't get to it? My issue I found with some of the resources that we had to go get them and bring them back to the city of Covington. Or, as I pointed out to the mayor, we have the National Guard building there who had resources brought in, and then they were loaded up on trucks and taken out to First Baptist Church. Half of the people who just were hit by a storm can't get to First Baptist Church and get those resources.
You're exactly correct.
Right,
And
so-
that's why we, the city, need to have a go-to person who is a liaison that knows how to connect the resources to the people who need the resources. That's that's the takeaway. That's the lesson learned. It can't be Public Works or the fire department, but we can have somebody that knows, hey, I can pick up the phone and call the Rotary Club, and they'll go pick up the ice and bring it to Mrs. Jones or Mrs. Smith. And so the struggles that you had, Courtney should be able to work with, specifically with you and with Mr. Botsford and Councilman Ludwig and those of you who are hands-on delivering assistance. And that's the whole idea, is that we, the city, can't provide the assistance, but we can certainly help you facilitate the delivery of the assistance. Because that's to your point, that's kind of what we were missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A complete agreement with you.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor, anyone else in your departments that want to speak? You did a great job, by the way. Okay, good. We appreciate it. Okay, anything else from the council? Before we wrap up, a couple of announcements. We have a reminder of the upcoming November meeting. The meeting is scheduled to be held here in the chambers, Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. Also, we received this beautiful binder that was put together by administration on the proposed budget for 2022. So we'll have some homework to do, everybody here on the council. I have announced tonight, I will announce tonight, and the administration already knows these dates. We're going to have budget work sessions that will be scheduled for the following dates. Tuesday, November 16th, 2021 at 5 p.m. in these chambers. We'll have planning and zoning, building permits and code enforcement, recreation, cultural, arts and events, facilities, administration, public works, engineering, and police and fire departments that will be discussed that night. We do have another date, which is the next day if necessary. Sometimes we can get it done in one night. But if we need the second night, it'll be Wednesday, November 17th, 2021 at 5 p.m. in these chambers. That being, and then of